Ladies and gentlemen,
Good evening.
Are you ready?
Okay, here we go.
You're listening to the Deal Room Podcast. Join us as we bring you the inside scoop on business sales and acquisitions. Get across trends in the area and hear the industry's best recount their real-life tips, traps, and experiences. Now, here's your host, Joanna Oakey.
Hi, it's Joanna Oakey here, and welcome back to the Deal Room Podcast, a podcast proudly brought to you by our commercial legal practice, Aspect Legal. Now, today we have back the fabulous Mark Ostryn from Strategic Transactions, and we're talking all about digging into a new tool for determining how fit businesses are for sale. Now, Mark is the Director of Strategic Transactions who work in the food and beverage, health and beauty and technology space to make businesses more valuable, and he then takes them to market. So I think this will be a really interesting discussion today as we dig into this new tool and some market insights that have come from its use so far. So Mark, welcome on board. Good to have you.
Fabulous to be back again. This is my third time and great to talk to you again. I was just looking on my phone this morning. You've done 120 podcasts.
Oh, wow. Isn't that, and that's just here. I've also got Talking Law that's done about another 100 as well. So it's who knew when I started that we'd get to this sort of number.
I have to continually congratulate you on your quality and your consistency.
Oh, Mark, thank you.
Longevity. I mean, you really are like world number one in what you're doing at the moment.
Well, I'll tell you what, I absolutely love it. I love the discussions, and I love the insights that I get, and all of my guests bring on so many different perspectives that I just feel I'm the one who benefits most, and it's just super cool that I can then share it widely. And I'm still, these days I often walk into a space where there's people in the industry, and they'll often say, "Hi, I listened to your podcast," and that just blows me away. It's just crazy, to think that we can get reach and that, I guess we're serving a bit of a hopefully useful purpose out there as well.
Look, I think we've all benefited from this. I mean, the way that we've all learnt about each other's expertise and professional skills has just been fantastic throughout the whole industry. Thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, Mark, that's so sweet. Okay, well, look, let's launch into it. So today we're talking about this new tool that you've developed for determining how fit businesses are for sale. And I think this is, it's just such a great thing to have somewhere that, something that's automated so that businesses can just jump in and get a bit of an idea of where maybe they've got gaps if they're thinking about exiting the future. Because I think this education piece for businesses that are heading into exit is the one thing that is massively lacking. And of course, that's why I've put together this podcast in part, because I've seen a massive information gap. But I think tools like what you've created are just really important for filling that information gap.
Oh, thank you for that.
And is that why you designed it? Like, what was the idea behind it? Maybe if you can give us a little bit about, what it is and then why you designed it.
Well, a number of things. First of all, I love doing quizzes. I used to sit there at the weekend with my partner doing travel quizzes from the Sydney Morning Herald. So I've always loved quizzes.
I'm going to make no comment.
Absolutely.
I like travel.
You know how it is when you really know something and you're competing against somebody in a travel quiz. You feel sort of motivated to sort of show off your skills. And I thought, I wonder if business owners sort of want to do the same kind of thing to show what kind of grip they've got on their business. That's the positive side of things. Now, the negative side of things, and I've got to be honest with you here, and I don't know if you found this, Joanna, or not, but I'm finding that the readership of articles that you post on platforms like LinkedIn seems to be declining.
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
And I'm wondering whether people are just absolutely over this whole concept of having some, self-interested consultant, writing these 4 or 5 paragraphs on how you can improve this and that, how they can do things better. I'm just wondering whether that's a phenomenon now that's gone. And I thought, well, let's put a kids quiz together. That way people can sit there, they can fill in the questions, and then they can see for themselves, all right, what's good about their business and what isn't. And they can find out before the due diligence people come in and do it for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely 100%. And so have you had much feedback from people who've gone through the quiz yet in terms of anything that they've found surprising coming out of the quiz?
I think the main feedback I got from somebody a couple of days ago said, I didn't realise my business was such crap.
Note here, if you're going to do the quiz, we're not suggesting you're going to find out your business is crap.
Sorry, just an observation here. I've looked at hundreds of businesses over the last 10 years or so. Most businesses are crap. Most businesses are a bit rubbish. Yeah. Most businesses, most companies are held together with a proverbial chicken wire and gaffer tape. And entrepreneurs only think that other entrepreneurs are doing really well and they're not doing really, really well. And it's only when we all come together and talk with each other, we all realise that we've all got similar kinds of problems. That's the big secret.
So what are these similar sorts of problems then? I guess we can talk, outside of the quiz, but also inside of the quiz. So let's talk about inside of the quiz at the moment.
Yeah.
Has it revealed anything to you that was a little bit surprising?
Look, there was a number of things that really, really did stun me, both in a good way and a bad way. I'm going to share a couple of these things with you because I know that you're personally interested in them as well. But
do it.
Yeah. What we did was the quiz is I typically break down the assets of a business into 8. So I'm looking at 8 aspects of the business: financial, the product side of the business, the customer side of the business, the people, the systems that they have, their competitiveness, the branding of the business, and the intellectual property. Mm-hmm. And so the quiz basically comprises of a few questions in each of them. And I've made it really, really simple. I've got multiple choice, and there's really only 3 answers. And asked various questions, and I've tried to make some of the questions a little bit creative, give people a bit of a laugh, etc. But I have had some depressing and some interesting insights as well. Do you want me to share?
Wow. Okay. Yeah. How about we go interesting first, and then we'll go depressing later. I'm an optimist. Let's start with the interesting.
Depressing later. Okay. I think you're going to love this one.
Oh, good. I'm ready.
Based on a lot of the great work that you do outside your own business, 48% of business owners said that their employees would regard the business as being ethical and being driven by causes beyond mere profit.
Oh, that's fabulous. I mean, that's fabulous. But the only thing, I just look at that statistic and I say, shit, that means 52% of businesses then feel that they're not ethical and being driven by just profit or the main thing of profit. So isn't that, I mean, that's really interesting, isn't it? I'm glad we're at least at 48%, but there's still a lot of room, isn't there?
Absolutely. But don't forget also, this is a trending upwards figure. You look at a lot of the market research that's been done on millennials. Millennials much prefer to work for businesses that have got a social conscience. And also there is that statistical correlation and causation between doing good and actually being more profitable.
Oh, that's fabulous. I just love that saying. That's just absolutely awesome. So, and it's really nice then that, as you say, this is something that we can look at and say, well, look, here's a way that you can actually increase the performance of your business by doing good. So, and, in terms of your being able to create a vision.
I think the important thing is to back this up. Organizations now have access to much, much cleverer and more organized ways to actually give as well. And I'm thinking really specifically of the B1G1. The growth in the enormous number of people that are using B1G1 as part of their giving.
Yep, which we're a massive, massive advocate of. So, it's good to give B1G1 a bit of a plug here because they're just such an amazing platform. But the point here is that businesses who are aware of that and using platforms are just doing whatever, it is that works for them.
Yes.
To think about something outside of mere profit and to think about something that creates a vision that not just their staff, but certainly their staff, but their staff and their clients and their, business partners can get on board with is a really positive thing. So what an awesome thing to come out of the study. Okay, I love that one. You're right. I did like that point. And what's the next one, Mark? What other insights?
I put a couple of joking ones in just to see how they went. This I found quite interesting. I've written a question here that said, many of our senior and middle managers perform below average, but I've not let them go because of loyalty and dependence on them.
Wow. And what was the result for that?
17%.
17%.
17%.
Wow. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Close to 1 in 5 of managers should not be around.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. That's a really good point, to get people to really check into. Hopefully just the process of answering that question, shines a bit of light on the business owners that are, going through the quiz process.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I share a couple more things with you?
I'd love them. Share away.
Okay. Again, this really validates my reason for wanting to produce this quiz. Only 33% of businesses agreed that many of their larger competitors within the industry would find them an attractive acquisition prospect.
Wow. Okay. All right. So
2 out of 3 would not believe that their company was sellable.
Wow. Isn't that interesting? And of course, then they're cutting out a large component of perhaps an even more profitable part of the acquisition market if they're cutting out being sold to a larger competitor. Why is that, do you think, Mark? What is the reason that 2 out of 3 don't think they'd be an attractive acquisition prospect by larger competitor?
They haven't thought about it, to be honest with you. I mean, it's all right for people like you and me to bang the drum of exit planning and the like, but we still are in our infancy with regards to sort of having this as a recognized industry. This is in spite of the fact that the market sector that you and I deal with, the average age of an owner is 58 years old. So we've got these baby boomers all looking for exits over the next few years. And I think also, to be honest, with the mentality of a lot of business owners is, and though it shouldn't be, I've bought myself a job. And that's quite frightening when it comes to the mid-market. I'm actually, maybe I'll get your advice on this, Joanna. I'm actually toying with asking another question. The question is, would I earn more, the same or less if I now worked in a middle management job in a mid-sized company?
Oh, that's a good one, Mark. Add that in.
Yeah.
I think so.
And here's another one to go with it. Would I earn more, the same or less than I do now per hour if I worked in a middle management job in a mid-sized company? But
I guess, the other component to add on to this, and this is probably in the information that you're providing them post-survey, but the business owners are building this asset as a business. It is absolutely important that they're focused on, what is their return now? And I think quite often they'll focus on, I'm building this value for myself to one day exit in the future to get to this massive pot of gold that I believe I've created. And then that's when the real disappointment comes in, when, the advisors get on board and say, okay, well, the reality is in the market, it's, the value isn't where you thought it was. And so then that's why it becomes really important for us to focus on that. Well, what are you taking out now in comparison to where you could be? But I guess the other component that really interlays into this is, okay, if you're not getting as much now as you would be, or you're on par, or not getting enough of an uplift for the extra sort of time, emotion and attention that you give your business, that if you were an employee, it's about, well, how do you make that payday the best deal of your life? How do you then turn that payday when you sell your business into something that really shoots the lights out, that makes it all worthwhile? Other than obviously, hopefully, you're building your business in an ethical way. And
absolutely. Look, you've got me on my pet topic. I love this sort of SME space so much. I'm as you can tell from my accent, I'm a POM. just like you.
I did pick it.
And I'm very grateful for the lifestyle I have here. I'd like my kids and grandkids to enjoy the same kind of lifestyle. And the only way that we're going to do that is we have entrepreneurs. We have great entrepreneurs that build fantastic businesses. We can't trust the mining companies to keep us rich, and we certainly can't trust the oligopolies, whether they're Colesworth or the banks or anything like that, because then they're looking after their shareholders rather than actually thinking towards the future. And so it has to be the entrepreneurs. Now, an entrepreneur is going to be far more motivated to start a business and go through all the hassle if they know at the end, there's this rainbow, there's this pot of gold. And so we have to be continually working on bringing entrepreneurs in. And the only way that we can do that is to show at the end of all the heartache, it's happy days.
Yeah. And hopefully a little bit of happiness on the way through. We'll try. Now, I think one of the questions that you have in your quiz relates to the operational impact of being forced to remove yourself as a business owner for the business from a month or two. Can you tell me what's the upshot of the answers to that question at the moment? I'm really interested to hear.
Oh, God. Okay. I think the question you're referring to was, if I were forced to remove myself from the business for a month or two, the operational impact would be catastrophic, 54%.
Wow. And what were the options? So it could be catastrophic or...
Catastrophic, look, I need to think back to that. I think the one would be minimal. One was minimal. The second one was problematic. And the third was catastrophic.
Isn't that amazing? Wow. Okay. And so this is where I think real work needs to be done with businesses, to free, because then the value and the asset that you have in your business is just constantly under this massive cloud of risk, isn't it? For all of these businesses that are in the 54%.
Absolutely. And if I can point out something as well, the sample at the moment is actually the sort of the medium-sized business rather than the smaller business. So it's not like an owner with 2 or 3 employees saying, well, I can't go on holiday. We're talking here now about an owner, a management team, maybe small, maybe 3-4 people in the management team, and still the owner hasn't handed over the reins sufficiently so that they could go on a cruise from, probably not a good example at the moment. I was going to say.
Well, they'll be out for more than a month then, won't they?
Sorry, that was a slip of the tongue there. The owner couldn't effectively cut themselves off for a month and not sort of feel that when they came back the business was a smouldering wreck. Again, probably not another good example like that.
Yeah. Okay, so, and I recall there was a question that related to problems or how the organisation deals with problems if they occur with their customers. So, problems or faults with the products and services. What was the response that you got in your survey to that question?
It actually surprised me that nearly 60% of business owners actually admitted that their clients will not get high-quality support when they encounter faults or difficulties with their products and services. All right, 60% of owners. Now, bearing in mind that owners tend to be sort of fairly optimistic about their products and services, I think that's an absolutely staggering admission. An absolutely staggering admission. And I have to say, good luck to the 60% that were honest about it. But, I look at some of the biggest businesses in the company and think to myself, they could make life for their customers so easy if they only thought from the customer's perspective about the issues of service and support. I mean, yesterday, I don't mean to bag Optus out, but I spent hundreds of dollars a month with Optus. Okay, so when I go to the Optus website, there's a good chance that I'm mainly going to be interested in either getting some sports and something or working out why my network's down or something like that, right? Now, they should know me. So by the time I get to the Optus website, they should know who I am, yeah? Especially when I've logged in. But But every time I go, they're trying to sell me a smartphone. Now, I've already bought my iPhone 11. So why am I going to need another smartphone? I'm there for support now. That's why I'm visiting them.
Yeah. So, and I guess this is a little bit about sort of having empathy for your clients and being able to, understand what it is that they're actually after in, different parts of the buying process or transaction process that they're in. But it's interesting, like many of these questions that you've talked about are actually like really good, important questions, but interestingly, quite often not driven into by buyers who are looking at assessing a business. So I just wonder, to what extent this is actually quite a useful, interesting quiz for buyers out there as well, in terms of giving them, discussion points, in terms of drilling into understanding where the holes are in the businesses that they're looking at purchasing that are a bit outside of the normal, say, for example, due diligence list that they might be going through. As I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking, maybe this is a really good tool for buyers as well.
Yes, and you've given me a great idea for another quiz there.
I think it's in here though, Mark. I think the thing is, like, there's two comments I have about the quiz as a whole. I think the point is, if you're about to head to market, there's not a lot that you can do about these items. Like if you're listing tomorrow, it's too late for you to remedy some of these things. So the real point is, if you're thinking about selling in 3 to 5 years or 10 years time, like now is when it's worthwhile for you to get in and just start thinking about what are some of these, what are some of these changes that you could make. And maybe we'll just have a quick chat about how making changes in these areas changes the value of a business. Okay. But on the flip side, my second point is, maybe a really good an insight out of this as well is making it easy for buyers to understand more deeply the business that they're looking at buying outside of the traditional due diligence areas. For an SME, which mostly just focus on financial first, obviously, and then, if you're lucky, a bit of legal DD. But a lot of SME acquisitions don't look deeply at things outside the financial, quite often don't look deeply at things outside of financial and legal. So I think this sort of quiz could be really useful to help them, assess their businesses that they're buying.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go a bit scientific though with this, because this is an interesting point you raised. I'm going to advocate to you, having sort of come on this podcast in order to flog the quiz, that maybe this quiz isn't I'll be honest. That maybe not flog it because it's free. But let's just actually look at this. There's two types of buyer. All right. We've got a financial buyer and we've got a strategic buyer. Now, Joanna, you decide tomorrow that you don't want to be a legal person anymore. You want to go and buy a food business. All right. You have no previous association with the food industry. You just want to go and buy a healthy snack food product. Yeah. Which you want to sell. Now, this quiz is going to be interesting to you because basically you don't have any association with the food industry at the moment. All you basically want is a good quality business that's not going to give you too much hassle and that's achieving steady growth rates. So you are going to be really interested in these 8 assets and what the business scores for it. Yeah? Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, instead of you now being being Joanna, you're going to be a mergers and acquisitions manager at Nestle. All right. Now, you're looking at this small packaged snack food, healthy snack food manufacturer. Okay. You don't actually care, to be honest with you, certain aspects of the business. All right. You don't care about the manufacturing facility for this small business because all you're going to do is close it down anyway, aren't you? Because you're going to manufacture it under Nestle. Right. So you're not interested in the systems. on their processes. You're probably not particularly interested in their people because you're going to have your own people in there. You're not interested in their plant and equipment. What you're basically going to be interested in is the things like the brand. Yeah. To what extent could you take that brand and have it become a Nestle brand? You're interested in the product assets. So, for example, you say you work for Peters, all right, and you wanted to buy Connoisseur ice cream. You say, oh, that's great. Connoisseur has got this fantastic niche in the market. I'm not just going to sell tubs now. I'm going to sell in a stick, and I'm going to sell Empire flavor and waffle flavor, and I'm going to expand all these different product offerings that we can produce based on this great brand name, this Connoisseur brand name. So you're a strategic buyer. So you're not actually interested in the scores of a lot of these businesses. And so let's now rewind to how the seller should think of it. The first question the seller needs to ask before they start improving their business is to say, who is going to buy me in 5 years' time or in 10 years' time or whenever? All right? That's the first question. And it's only then when they realize that it's going to be Joanna Oakey, the tree changer, rather than Joanna Oakey, the M&A manager for Nestle, that's going to buy them, do they actually start improving their business? And that's a key issue.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And so we've talked about some of the insights in terms of the interesting sort of data that has come out of the quiz. And presumably out of the quiz, the businesses who are taking it can get a bit of self-assessment themselves and a bit of insight into where their strengths are and where their weaknesses are as well. But then I guess what's the next step and what's the lead time that you think businesses need to give in terms of once they've done this, they work out what the issues are. So where do they take that insight, I guess?
What do they do? So they've got this scorecard back and it says a whole bunch of 40% on it. What do they do next?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, they need to know what their time horizon is before exiting. Then they need to know who the buyers are potentially going to be. And then they need to think, and this is an exercise that's best done with a third party. They need to say, what are those buyers going to be looking at for in 5 years' time? All right. So they almost need to do a Porter's 5 forces model to say, what are the impacts in the industry going to be in 5 years? What's the industry going to look like? What are buyers going to be looking for, etc. And then really decide on the shape of that business. Now, they may need to grow organically. They may need to form ventures or partnerships. They may even need to acquire smaller businesses. But they're aiming towards this target, and this target's moving. And this is really where the outside insights of the consultants that regularly listen to your podcast and my business, Fit for Sale, in particular, really, really come in to give them this sort of outsider's view, this ability to sort of brainstorm, the ability to create a bit of vision for the business and to use that awfully often quoted mantra, to work on the business rather than in the business.
Absolutely, which is the aim of many entrepreneurs, but so much harder to get in practice, I guess. So I guess there's the benefit of working with consultants.
Absolutely. But hey, the upside is, and a lot of the analysis I've done, there's been something like just in food and beverage, technology platform and health and beauty, small and medium-sized businesses, there's been something like 200 or 300 of them that have been purchased by publicly listed companies, both in Australia and overseas within the last 3 years. So there is, if you get it right, there is a massive, massive payoff. And, and that payoff can be 7, 8, 9, 10 times profit as a valuation.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. Well, look, that was just fabulous, Mark. Thanks for walking us through the quiz. I guess the question that is obvious next is, how do people find the quiz? So firstly, it's a free quiz. We should have said that in the beginning.
Yeah, so it's a free quiz. Oh, and more important than that, it's anonymous.
Oh, right. Okay.
We're not sucking people's email addresses and then bombarding them with junk forevermore. It's absolutely anonymous. what I really want, what I really want to do is to aggregate some scores and really get some feel about the way the markets are moving.
Yeah. Okay, fabulous. So how do people find the quiz?
You're going to put that
100% I am. Absolutely. It's a long URL, is it?
Well, it's one of these bit.ly things that goes upper score J, 41, lower score M, etc., etc. It won't be in a few weeks' time, but I need to master that first.
Okay, got it. Well, so for now, just head to your show notes and we will link straight through to that quiz if you're interested in trying it out yourself, or if you have clients that you think would really benefit from having a bit of a deeper insight into, the areas of their business that relate to the things that they should be looking at to understand whether or not their business is fit for sale. And once again, I don't know if we've actually even talked about this, but the areas of people, customers, products, financial, IP, brand, competitive, and systems. So they're all of the areas that you review in this quiz, Mark.
I do. And look, a lot of the work that I do with my customers actually involves working with consultants. And I know you have a lot of consultants tuning into this podcast.
We do. Yep.
Yeah, that have specialist skills in, HR or branding or IP or something like that. And so really this is as much a call from my perspective to get to know people who are listening who have specialist skills in one or more of those areas, so that when I have clients that score low in one of those areas, I'm not an IP specialist, I'm not an HR specialist. I'd love to form partnerships. I think partnerships is what the world's all about now, and so if people want to work with me to improve the value of a particular business that I'm involved in, here I am.
Yeah, fabulous. Okay, all right. Well, look, that's excellent, Mark. Thank you very much for coming onto the show today. And just as a comment, if people go to your website, can they get to the quiz from there as well?
They will be by the time this podcast is broadcast.
And I guess for you, the market, the good news is I'm well planned. We're quite a bit ahead at the moment. By the time you're listening to this, if you go to strategictransactions.com.au, you'll be able to find there a link straight through to the quiz. But of course, you will also be able to find it in the show notes. Well, Mark, I just want to say a massive thank you for coming onto the show today. It's been great having you.
Thank you. Oh, the other way to do it, of course, is to say, is to Google, is your business fit for sale?
Okay. Google, is your business fit for sale? I love it. Excellent. Okay, wonderful. Well, look, thank you so much, Mark. And thanks to you, our listener. If you want to make sure you catch any of those links that we were talking about to the quiz, or in order to get through to Mark at Strategic Transactions, just head over to our website at thedealroompodcast.com or check out the show notes, of course. And on our website, you'll also be able to download a transcript of this podcast episode if you want to read it in more detail. Of course, there you'll be able to find out how to contact Mark, and you'll also be able to find out how to contact our lawyers at Aspect Legal if you or your clients would like to discuss any legal aspects of sales or acquisitions. Well, look, thanks again for listening in. You've been listening to Joanna Oakey and the Deal Room Podcast, a podcast proudly brought to you by our commercial legal practice, Aspect Legal. See you next time. Have you heard of Aspect Legal's partner program? Our partner program is a free program that's open to brokers, corporate advisors, accountants, and any other advisors to businesses who are dealing with organisations that are leading into a sale or acquisition of businesses or shares. As part of our partner program, we offer free access to our legal hotline, which is a support line to our specialist lawyers. We also provide a pre-free sale legal review to buyers and sellers, where we educate them about the process and timelines from a legal perspective. And the third element that forms part of this partner program is a match-up database that we run, where effectively we're able to connect up accountants or brokers or corporate advisors with businesses who are looking to either sell or acquire. So if you're a partner of ours, you go straight into that partner database, and where we can see opportunities to provide matchups, then we introduce you. And the final element of our partner program is ongoing education in the form of seminars, webinars, and meetups. And that's something new that we're introducing into the partner program in early 2020. So if you're not a partner, then all you need to do to become a partner is just pop us an email at partners@aspectlegal.com.au and just simply say in your subject column, I want to become a partner. It's as easy as that to get immediate access to our free legal hotline and all of those other resources. We look forward to having you on board as a partner.
Ladies and gentlemen.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.
Thanks for listening to the Deal Room Podcast. To find out more about this episode and other episodes in the series, check out the show notes or head over to our website at thedealroompodcast.com.au.